Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more Legacy of the Void unofficial pre-alpha custom game sort of thing with all the settings and all the changes that have been announced at BlizzCon 2014. Today we're gonna take a look at the Herk. Now this is one of these units that, you know, a lot of people were complaining about a little bit after seeing its effectiveness at BlizzCon. But obviously, all of these things that you are about to see are completely subject to change because obviously, well, it's not even alpha yet, it's not even beta yet, it's not even remotely close to being released yet. So, why now we get all the formalities out of the way, today we're gonna take a look at it. Now, I'll be honest, I've never even made one before. I've never even made a Herc before, so we're gonna figure everything out together. Hopefully we'll figure out how to actually properly make them, and we can have my first thoughts on pretty much everything that's going on. I'm just gonna do a somewhat standard-ish opener here, which I think is gonna be standard-ish, maybe? I don't know. Anyways, there's a whole bunch of new units added to Legacy of the Void, and I plan on making a spotlight video on each and every one of you, or each and every one of the units. But if you have any of the units that you really would like me to cover, I've only covered the Ravager so far, let me know right below that like button in the comment section below, and just let me know what unit you really want me to cover. Do you want me to cover, like, the new Protoss unit? I don't even know the name of it right now. Or do you want me to cover the Lurker next, or whatever? Just let me know, okay? Anyways, so the Herc is a new early game unit that is considered pretty strong. That's pretty much where things end right here. We have it right here, the Herc. It's 100 gas. It's actually 100 gas, 100 minerals and 100 gas, and it has the grapple ability. Okay, so first thing to note right here is that it's really expensive. Like, it is really expensive. We're gonna need a bunch of gas, we're gonna need a bunch of other stuff as well. I'm actually gonna add on a couple more of these guys. And then go for the orbital command as well. I'm also gonna make a tech lab. So hopefully, I think I might be able to support 3 barracks Herc. I don't even know. I don't even know if I will be able to support that. But we're gonna figure it all out together off of one basis. Now, the Herc has a grapple ability. And the grapple ability is what most people were pretty confused about, because it's actually very strong against banelings. It actually one-shots banelings, making it very effective versus Zerg Link baneling army, which usually, you know, classic game StarCraft, you're not really going to be able to do that. So let's produce our very first Herc, shall we? 40 seconds, that's pretty long. It feels pretty long, yeah. It's about as long as a Reaper, pretty much. And Reapers always come out pretty late, so that's kind of interesting. I am producing the very first one right now. Gonna be making another tech lab right here. On these two, and also made another depot right here. Now let's see if you have any upgrades. We do have this one right here, Arc Gun. Allows the Herc's attack to deal splash damage to nearby units. That is actually very strong. Now let's actually try both of these situations out, okay? We're gonna try both the Herc without the upgrade, and then also the Herc with the upgrade. So I'm not gonna kill my opponent yet, even though that might actually happen pretty early on into the game, but hey. Looks like we actually might not be able to produce 3 barracks non-stop Hercs out of this gas, or out of one base anyway, but hey, whatever. So here we go. This is the grapple ability right here. Now let's read the tooltip before I actually show you what it does. The Herc can target any unit, friend or foe, and pull itself towards that unit. Now what does that mean? First off, it means that you can use it to close the distance between you and the enemy. But it can also mean, let's say this guy is a little bit in the back and we're running away from a Zerg army. Well, there we go, by the way. Let's just show it right there. Whee! I can basically leap forward straight on top of the units and just kill him very quickly. So let's say I wanna grapple onto that guy. We can just sort of very quickly do that and jump away out of trouble and out of, you know, out of issues, really. But just using a couple of minor little abilities. Now keep in mind, this is without the upgrade. This is without the splash damage upgrade, which is also kind of expensive, to be honest. But we're gonna move out across the map as soon as this one finishes. Don't mind my macro, by the way. That's not really relevant for this one. I'm just producing a couple of units, and we're gonna march across the map. So far, this is a pure Herc army, right? So we are 6 minutes into the game, and I only got about 6 of them. That's not very much, but keep in mind, these guys are kind of mobile. They also move relatively fast, it feels like, so it's pretty cool. This is actually, isn't this the Marauder icon? I'm pretty sure this is the Marauder one. I guess they still need to add that in there, but alright. So first attack wave that we're gonna do is gonna be without the upgrade, and then the second one is going to be with the upgrade. So let's see how this goes. I can actually try and micro this one out of trouble if I try a little bit better. And let's actually jump on top of these guys and actually Well, we can actually obviously jump over them as well, dealing a lot of damage. Now, the base damage of the Herc is very high, but as you can see, I cannot actually hit air. So air is not a thing you can do. But the base attack damage of this unit is a lot higher than any of the other real, you know, Terran units. The nice thing is, however, is that this is, wow, I actually get surrounded. This is really a melee unit, you know? It's not a range unit. It's basically like an improved version of the SCV almost. Where it is pretty similar, it just does a lot more damage, and obviously it's a lot stronger in general. But you can see the base damage right here. We're basically just zapping away at the hatchery, and it's going down quite rapidly, even though we don't have that many. So let's grapple that guy down as well. I'm actually gonna leave, we're gonna actually go back home. So that should give you a pretty basic idea of how the Herc works. It's just very, very strong all around. Especially versus, you know, things that have relatively high HP, or needs to be one-shotted, such as banelings. Now, I'm actually kind of curious here about something myself. Can they get repaired? Because I do know they can get healed by a Medivac. Let me see if this works. Okay, so I did some damage right there. Can I repair it with an SCV? Is that possible? Can you repair him? No. No, it doesn't look like it. No, he actually can't. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. He cannot get repaired. Alright, let's get the upgrade right now. The arc gun upgrade right here. Allows the attack damage, or allows the Herc to deal damage in a little splash sort of area. So, how long does this take? It does take a pretty long time, actually. It's 2 minutes. It's about, yeah, it's actually 130 seconds, so that's slightly longer than Combat Shield, and slightly slower than Stimpack. Kind of cool, kind of cool. That means that you can actually do some pretty cool marine Stimpack. Or no, you can, oh, wrong button, Lowko, wrong button, damn. Alright, we're gonna go with the Herc. The cool thing is, though, what I was gonna say there, is that you can do some nice marine combat shield with arc gun upgrades. You know, like marine Herc upgrades. I'm actually looking for the words right here, because I'm like, wait, how would that even sound? But I guess that would be called marine Herc aggression or something like that, or like a arc gun timing push, something like that. It's kind of funny when you come up with these new names, but all right. So let's see how quickly I can actually kill marauders. You can see that literally just almost one-shot it. Like, yeah, look at that damage. That's crazy. Now, you can't hit air. That is obviously the one the one problem that they do have. Alright, so let's wait for this. Actually, we're not gonna wait for anything. We're just gonna move across the map with my group of 10 Hercs right now, and we're gonna see how much damage we can do with them. Gonna have to make some extra command centers as well, because I can. Now, let's say I want to speed it up a little bit. We can actually jump forward, which is kind of fun. Alright, so the upgrade is just now done. We're actually gonna give it a try first. Let's try it on my own units. I don't actually know how much the splash damage is, but hey. Wait. It does have, it attacks to nearby units. Deals splash damage to nearby units. How does this work? Do I need to like be in the middle of them or something? I don't actually know how this works. Well, maybe it only works on Zerglings. Let's see if it does. Let's move one guy up here. He probably has a couple of Zerglings, right? I would imagine so, at least. Alright, let's go for the drones. Oh, there we go. Oh, snap. That actually is a lot of splash damage. That's not just a little bit of splash damage. That's actually a lot. Alright. Oh my god, that is actually very, very high right there. Those Zerglings got absolutely wrecked. Oh my god. Whoa, that splash damage is huge. Apparently, it does hit in a pretty big cone. We can actually kill the larva as well. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that, but that would actually be also pretty difficult to stop. Whoa. Whoa. I'm trying to think here what Zerk was open up with, because these are early game units, right? Like, these are early game units. Obviously, the Ravager would do decently well against this sort of stuff, but man, this is the splash damage is crazy. Oh my god. Woo. Alright, cool though. Cool, I really like it. But you can see the damage right here of the unit. We can literally just nuke down hatcheries and whatnot without any trouble at all. It's pretty cool, I like it. Let's jump to the, oh, we can't actually do it like that. Wait, we can't jump onto buildings? That must be a bug. That must be a bug, because we are supposed to be able to jump up to friendlies and foes, right? So it will make sense. But anyways, the base damage of this unit, very freaking high. It does benefit from all the other upgrades as well. So, you know, Those got one hit right there. It does benefit from the normal, quote-unquote, normal marine upgrades as well. So that does mean that you will see these units come back in like a Marine Marauder Medivac Mine sort of ball. Or a Marine Marauder Herk ball, I guess it would be. Marine Marauder Medivac Herk? I don't really know. Oh, there's actually one more thing that I really wanted to try out before we call it a day. I wanted to actually see how they fare, or how many you can load up into a... I actually need to get a factory as well, but... I was gonna look at how many you could make out of a Medivac. Like, how many can you put of these guys in a Medivac? We're not gonna accept victory. We don't do that sort of stuff. I like the little hubs they make. Let's see how fast I can actually nuke down. But I'm curious how many you can fit into a Medivac, because that's going to be pretty interesting. Especially with that arc gun upgrade. You can nuke down SCVs and whatnot so quickly. So in every matchup, they're gonna be really strong. So I'm gonna make a couple of Medivacs here. Because I can. Just need to get them out, really. It takes a little bit longer. By the way, you can notice how quickly my main mined out right there. Kind of funny. Alright, let's just put some drone or some guys in the gas and get some starport building. I'm pretty sure it's 2. I'm pretty sure it's 2, but yeah. Alright, let's once again check how fast we can kill it, okay? That actually wasn't too fast. Important thing to note, they are 100 minerals and 100 gas, so they are definitely very expensive, and they are also 3 supply. So they're kind of similar actually to the Ravager of the Zerg, same supply, same tech sort of thing, I guess you could say, and also the same cost and the same supply count and whatnot. So it's actually pretty similar. Obviously, they have completely different uses, but you get the idea. Now, the one thing that Blizzard was saying about this unit that they were a little bit worried about is the overlap with the Hellbat, because obviously Hellbats sort of are also slow damage, tanky sort of units. But I guess, honestly, this is a completely different sort of unit, to be honest, but I guess these could be really staples in army composition or in unit compositions, whereas the Hellbat is more of like, you know, it's a little bit more gimmicky, or you need to play it at mech. This is basically like the mech version. This is basically like the mech version of the Hellbat, I guess you could say, because it does benefit from other upgrades and whatnot. Alright, so we are getting a bunch of Medivacs right now. Just waiting for them to pop. And I think we can fit 2 guys in here. But if we could only fit 1, that would actually be interesting. Yeah, oh, we can... Whoa, we can actually fit 4 in here. Oh, I actually expected it to be 2. Oh, okay, that actually changes stuff. So, what if we boost across the map and just drop in a mineral line? See how much damage we can do right here. He does have a hatchery, so we can try that out. That is actually kind of crazy now I think about it. I thought you could only fit 2 in here, just like the Hellbats. It is sort of it is sort of Heart of the Swarm. There was some pretty crazy, what was it called? Hellbat drop aggression. And that was very hard to stop, and it was this exact same sort of situation. Alright. Well, we can actually nuke down mineral lines within literally seconds. Yeah, oh my god, that is pretty insane. That is pretty crazy right here. Alright, so you can fit 4 of these guys into a Medivac. Meaning that if you do a double drop, the Zerg really needs to get on top of that instantly. And I'm just trying to think of what unit would be really good against this. I guess things like Lurkers will be extremely good for a Zerg. And I guess Immortals would be really solid for the Protoss player. In Terran versus Terran, however, you know, you gotta have to go Siege Tank if you want to stop these units, because otherwise you're pretty much screwed. Imagine these things getting dropped on your Siege Tank line. It would be pretty painful. But I guess there are a ton of different applications for this one unit right now. If you enjoyed this video, guys, let me know by hitting that like button, and also let me know right below that like button in the comment section what unit you would like to cover next, or you would want me to cover next. I want to thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one.